So discipline, I've found the older and more experience that I've got, the less frequent I actually trade. A lot of new traders think they have to trade every squiggle on the chart. Every time the market moves, they need to be in a position. So having that discipline to only trade good setups, let the market come to me. One of the biggest reasons people lose money in these markets is FOMO. They see a market moving, they have to get in, and they jump in, and of course the market sort of tops out and goes the other way. I don't chase markets. I let them come to me, and if I miss it, that's not a problem. I'll catch the next move. I don't need to be in every sort of move. Risk management is the big one. I have rules: the most amount I can lose per day, the most amount I can risk per trade, whether it's a day trade or a swing trade, because I believe, and I've proven over time, I beat the market. I don't want to have one bad day that can wipe up my account. I don't want to ever have a session or a day, a week, a month, a year that can destroy my account, and that's why my risk is very important. So traders, we all have bad runs from time to time, and it's important that you can see yourself get out of that without blowing up an account, and that's down to the risk management side of it. I've touched on earlier, I've got zero ego. I don't care if I get stopped out. For me, trading's a game of probabilities, and I'll put my bets down where the odds are in my favor. If I get stopped out, I don't take it personally. It's part of the game, just the way the markets are. So patience, trading the right setups. Like I said, you don't need to be involved in every trade. You just need to, you don't lose money by not being involved. So no problem missing out on trades, but making sure that I'd rather miss a trade than enter a trade for the sake of entering a trade.
Again, everyone's going to be different. Even, when I'm working with clients, we try and define individually what performing at your best even means, what that looks like for the individual. And that will determine to a degree then also what those habits are. But I think, some of the basic ones are, there needs to be some way of preparing, and preparation would have a technical, tactical component to it, as well as a mentally emotional component. So how do I kind of get ready at the market level, but also at the me level? So I'm ready. Then I think, an evaluation or analysis, that should be a key habit that, again, in some form, traders have, again, that suits them and their style. I'm, as you know, a big fan of things like mindfulness type practices. I think that kind of awareness practice is really key, and that could be anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes a day, depending on the individual, or more. But I think there's a lot to be gained from that. More recently, I've done quite a lot of work with clients around kind of breath work type practices. So that, again, could be a similar or alternative practice to do. A journal that maybe isn't part of the normal trading reflection, but maybe it's just a chance to get thoughts and feelings down and to look at. Is helpful for a lot of people in some way as well. Then I think, just things like having a daily or weekly or even monthly, but a focus for learning something, like a learning focus, something to work on. So when I was working with the newer traders, I'd often walk around the trading floor and just ask, what are you working on right now? And sometimes they'd just be going, well, I'm just trading, trying to make money. I'm going, yeah, I understand that, but alongside that, what are you working on? How are you trying to become a better trader? So I think, it's a really good practice, and I try and encourage it in lots of my clients, is to think about, over the course of, it could be the quarter, the month, or the week, what's something you could do to become a better trader, and then how can you action that each day? I think that's a really good habit. I love the idea of kind of this ongoing development, and we're always working to be better. And as markets evolve and change, as we need to keep updating ourselves. So it's actually critical. We made a big poster of about 100 different exercises which were elemental. Watch a podcast, read an article, speak to an experienced trader, and so on. And then we said to them, you should be doing one thing from your list every day. And some tasks might take a minute and some might take an hour, but every day try and do something from that list so you feel that in some way you're becoming a better trader.
Journaling is very important. You have to have data to back up your decisions in this business. So my data said that the first strategy I have can work every day, but the other strategy only works best on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I keep to that. So I'm not gonna force trades or with a strategy that I know will not work, or the probability that it will work is low. I'm not going to do that, especially not with people's money.
Many things. Something I've been doing lately, especially when we're facing a bear market, like we have been in the crypto markets. Basically, as soon as a position is profitable, I move my stop into the profit zone. So that way I have almost little to no losers, and I create many, many small winners. Of course, always adjust to what the market offers you. And I think, I honestly, like the biggest part to becoming, to thrive as a trader in that sense would be to become a lot more not emotionally stable. That sounds too low of a standard, but more become almost like Zen, right? I don't trade when I'm upset. I don't and upset could be because of life situation. Let's say a girl breaks up with you, don't trade. If you have a bad trade, stop trading. Learn how to take breaks. Like, you always only want to go to the trading desk when you're in a really strong psychological position where you're neither upset nor are you overconfident, because both of those are profit killers. And I think one of the simple questions I like to ask myself, and that I keep always around, is, would a pro do this? And I think that's what a lot of beginning players must ask, traders must ask themselves, because many times we do all this little bullshit where we go all in, maybe with leverage on some stock pick that a friend gave you, but then ask, would a pro do this? Hell no. Imagine you were actually running a hedge fund. Imagine you were managing other people's money. Could you afford taking that trade? The answer is 90% of the time, no. Well, would a hedge, would a fund manager maybe put a stop? Well, yeah, definitely. They could not afford telling their investors, sorry, we just lost everything, or sorry, we used so much leverage, we blew up our accounts. No. So I love to ask the question always, would a pro do this? And it just takes some self-honesty and self-awareness.
The thing about trading is that it's pretty much the same wherever I go, right? Because that's one of the reasons why we started trading in the first place, because we can trade effectively anywhere in the world. So, and because I've been in Asia, my time zones are very similar. I don't have much disruption in my usual routine. One thing I do outside of trading to stay on top of things is I go to the gym. So over the past couple of years, I've started to get a routine where I go to the gym, and it really helps me, get the blood pumping, get out of my head. It's almost a meditative moment for me to be in the gym. And actually, I've had a lot of ideas come up to me while I'm in the gym.
If you received $10 million in the bank account tomorrow, what would you do? And if your answers are, I would pay off all my debts, I would buy a new car, I would buy a new house, I wouldn't have any debts, if that's the first thing your mind went to, that's what the majority would do, right? That's what everyone else would do. It's not the right answer, right? I mean, if you get $10 million, you have to know right now exactly what to do with that money. I mean, what stock are you going to buy? What life insurance settlement are you going to purchase? What life insurance policy will you buy for yourself? How will you take an umbrella policy to protect yourself and your family? What rental properties will you buy, right? You have to know, what cities will you buy them in? How much are you going to spend? What's your cap rate? What's your interest rate going to be? You need to know so many details about how it's going to be when you're wealthy. Otherwise, the chances of it happening is very, very, very small. So if you know, I'll end. I know we're about to wrap up, so I'll end pretty soon. But one of my favorite quotes is, it's not our fear that we are afraid of, it's that we're powerful beyond all measure. So most people are afraid of the unknown, and the unknown to them is not being poor, because they know what that feels like. Like, I know what being poor feels like. They know what being poor feels like, and living paycheck to paycheck, and eating ramen and chicken, and sleeping on futons, and not being able, turning off the lights because they're afraid that they might run over their electricity bill, taking 2-minute showers because they want to stay on their water bill. I get what poor is like. I've been there. Instead of having Captain Crunch, I ate Sergeant Sugar, right? So I know what being poor is like, but you also have to know what being rich is like. And if you have a bad taste in your mind for people who drive nice vehicles, live in nice houses, and you use terms like filthy rich. Since when is rich being filthy? Like, if you have these preconceived notions that rich people are mean, angry, greedy, conceited, and arrogant, you're not going to ever become rich, because your brain doesn't want to be conceited, mean, and arrogant. You want to be a beautiful, loving person. But if you also see that there are rich people who are incredibly beautiful, who donate, who are generous. I mean, I just went to the San Diego Zoo yesterday, and I saw plaque after plaque after plaque about people who donated their life savings, all their money when they died, to a certain establishment in the zoo for protecting of animals. I mean, that is, like, we never hear about those things, but those people, that happens all the time. So there are rich people, just as many rich people that are mean and arrogant. I know a lot of poor people who are mean and arrogant. Just as many rich people are beautiful and loving and incredible people, I know a lot of poor people who are beautiful, loving, and incredible. So it's just whatever you see, whatever you focus on. Yeah. So really, sorry to wrap that up, but just simply saying, if you want to become insanely wealthy, you need to know what you're going to do with your money right now, and it better not be your average answer. Because if your average answer, money wants to be cooler than that. It doesn't want to hang out with the average person. Money wants to hang out with someone who knows exactly how they're going to donate it, to whom they're going to give it, to whom they're going to be responsible for, what charities they're going to donate to, what homeless people they're going to be helping. Money wants you to be creative. It wants you to be the best version of yourself. And if all you're going to use money for is to pay off your credit card loans and your student debt, it's not going to be with you, because you're not cool.